Hey everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Open Book, back in stock now. So be sure to go over and get that when you finish watching this video. But I hope also that you're stamping along with me if you already have it. Today I want to show you how we can mask these cats to make it look like they're snuggling, very easy to do, and then show you a couple different coloring patterns along with some tips and tricks for coloring these cats. It's a very quick card to make, very minimal supplies. In addition to this stamp set, you're also going to want some cardstock. So I've got a piece of Gina K Pure Luxury. This is just a layering weight white. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. You could do more layering if you want, but I really want the focus to be on the images. So I'm just going to have a thin reveal of paper there. And then I'm going to be using the Sweet Mango cardstock today. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. This particular card I chose to do a more neutral base so that you could use Sandy Beach or a craft, but I really want to make the color on that orange tabby pop. The ink pad that I'm using today, I've got the Gina K Designs Black Amalgam ink, Jet Black, excuse me. This is great for doing coloring with alcohol markers. The markers that I'm using today, you don't have to use Spectrum Noir, but that's what I grabbed. I want to have a color that's going to work for their ears, their little toe pads, and their nose. So I'm using the FS9. It's just a really pale, pale pink. If you want it to be more whimsical, go with one that's a little bit brighter. For the tabby colors, you would just want to pick out a peach and an orange. So I've got the TN2 and the GB5. I know it doesn't look like it from these lids, but that's going to be the peach and the orange color that we're using. Then I've got an IG8, and this is a dark, dark gray for that tuxedo cat. I'll talk a little bit about that while I'm coloring. And then I've got a GG2 for doing my shadow. So that's all the ink we're using. I'm also going to recommend that you have on hand just a regular pencil, a white gel pen, and a black pen for adding detail or touching up any mistakes you might have. Got some tape runner from Gina K Designs. You could also use the Connect glue or other adhesive for your mats. And then I'm just using one block today. This is the 3 by 4 inch Gina K acrylic grid line block. So it's a really nice size for the cat, but I can also use it for smaller images like stamping my words. And then you'll just want some just regular old paper and some scissors for stamping your cat and cutting it out. All right, so let's begin by getting our cat stamped on this layer. So what I'm going to do, so I've already got my cat on the block and I've got my cat cut out. So what we want to do is we want to stamp the cat that's in the front first. So we want to have one look like it's laying on top of the other. So we're just going to ink up all over. Might be easier for you to do it face up, but just flip it over and make sure you've got all around on that cat. So I'm just going to put this over to the right. Okay. Then we're going to cover it up and make sure you do a nice close cut on this so that you don't have a little bump when you stamp it. But if you do, or if you cut inside of it, it's very easy to touch up that line. All right, so what I'm going to do is I've got it re-inked now, and instead of having it at the exact same angle straight, I want to tilt it just a little bit so it's going to look like they're two separate images. Obviously two cats, but if you make them too straight, it's just going to look a little bit too linear and look like you've got the same image stamped twice. But isn't that great how their little tails and their little paws and everything nest together? I just love that. Okay, love masking. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to start by putting a shadow on here with this GG2. And you can use a warmer shadow or a cooler shadow depending on the colors that you're using on your card. So this bottom shadow is basically just one continuous line. You're just going to go underneath everything. I skipped though here just because I want it casting a little bit as if the light is coming from this direction. Just a little bit under that foot. And around this way. Okay, then I'm just going to put some in here. That's a little space underneath, and then right under here under the tummy. And then we'll do just a little bit off to the side. And if you want to mask these and then do some sponging to create a colored surface that they're laying on, I just kind of like the white because it reminds me of a storybook. Also, it looks like maybe like a photo shoot when they're on a white backdrop. So I just love how it just really puts the focus on the image to have the white background. All right, so that's all we're gonna do. You could even pull this up a little bit if you wanted to bring it onto the fur, but we're gonna do that with our color, okay? So I'll show you that in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and we'll take that FS9 and we're gonna just add this in to the ears. And on the nose, and then on the little beans. Okay, you might want to do a darker one for the tuxedo. All right, so now we're going to just lay down just the base color, this TN2, this kind of peachy color for our tabby cat. So there is no shortage of cats on the internet. So if you need some inspiration and you're wanting some really realistic looking patterns, just look up cats and you'll find them. Tabby cat, orange tabby is what I looked at to find this. So we're gonna leave the little paws white. So I'm gonna just go in and I'm just doing a solid layer of this peach. I'm gonna skip the tummy. Cats that have a pattern, unless they're solid, almost always have, if not white, then a lighter underside. So we're going to color in this hind leg, but then skip the bottom. You could have just a little bit here peeking out. And because we're doing a larger area, if you want, you could even take the chisel tip just to fill that in a little bit faster and lay the color down a little bit thicker. And the more times you go over this, the darker it will get when you're using alcohol markers. You don't want to color in lines, you want to color in circles just to make it really solid. I'm going to go back to my bullet point just for these tighter areas. So I want to have it on the outside of the ears and the top of the head, just around the side of the face. You usually have a white chin and nose, but you can bring that down if you want, but I'm going to go all the way just around those eyes, just have a little bit of a reveal there on the nose. Okay. All right, now we're going to go in with our orange stripe. And so when you look at this curved body here, think of this as like a circle with the stripes all coming in towards that center of the circle. They're not all going to go straight down. And I kind of think of it like a little lightning bolt. You don't want to do a stripe, but I'm just going to go very easily back and forth, tapering towards the middle. And you don't want them to be too uniform, so you want to kind of vary the thickness, have maybe a thin one, then a thicker one. And you can see, I think it's really easy just to turn the paper and keep coming towards that center of that circle that I mentioned, okay? And then we're going to have it coming towards the middle of the face. And then I'm going to add that to the ears there. Then on the little cheeks, those are going to come in pointing towards the nose. Right here. And then same thing for on the little arms. And I'm skipping about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then you can also shade in on the bottom there with the orange. A little bit there and a little bit there. And then depending on how much you want these stripes to pop, you can do a little bit of tone-on-tone coloring, tip to tip rather. So you're going to take the lighter one in the hand that you color with and grab just a little bit of that darker color to put in between to kind of blend those together. And this is up to you how much you want to blend. But it's just going to make them, and you don't have to grab color each time. You have that darker color on there, so that's going to keep going. then once I have the color laid down that I want, you can go in and you can add a little bit of texture with the marker, but I'm going to show you in a minute with the pencil. So we've got our orange cat done now. Now I'm going to do the tuxedo cat. And even though there is a black marker in this collection, or you have a black with Copics or whatever alcohol markers that you're using, I rarely use that because I don't want to lose the details in my image. And also, cats have really shiny fur, and so even a black cat is not going to look truly black. So I chose this IG8, and again, I want to have socks on it. I just think it's just really cute to have a little bit of a pattern, but this is very easy to color if you want to have a solid cat. So I'm just going to do the whole thing with this dark gray. Just go in there really carefully. But I'm going to leave the nose, and again, just that the little mug, the little mouth and chin. And so you'll want to use a bullet tip or a brush tip for these little fine areas along the ears. And just make sure that you color enough so that you're not seeing those strokes. And then this back part. And that's it. And if you have a certain pattern that is harder for you to color, you might want to put that one in the back so that you don't have to color quite as much of it. Then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to do just around the lower portions. Just add one more layer. Make it a little darker. The lightest part is going to be there at the top. Okay. Oh, and I forgot. I'm going to color his little nose. If you can see, my cat has kind of a little heart nose. All right. So that's it. Then the last thing that I'm going to do, and this is optional. I didn't do this before when I showed these in the release party, but I did want to show you how easily you can add texture with a pencil, is just to take your pencil. So I've got a mechanical one here, so it's got a really nice fine little point. And you can just do tiny little lines, just following the little lines that you see on my illustration. And it's just going to add a tiny bit of furry fuzzy texture. So this is going to show up on white or black or gray or any color. And if you want, you could use Prismas to use a tone-on-tone color, like if you wanted to use a little bit of orange. But the gray works really well when you have it stamped in the black. So just little bitty strokes to give it some fuzz. And then I'm going to just add one greeting. So I'm going to go ahead and put friends on this one. I had family before. And then I chose to put time spent with friends is never wasted on the inside of this card. So that is also from this set, and you can pop in the different ones to customize. So I just put this little script word just snuggled, kind of nested right in the tail there. And then we'll just do a little bit of adhesive. And card is complete. So I hope you enjoy these coloring tips. Let me show you a few other cats that I did. This is one that I shared in our release party. So the exact same coloring technique, except I'm using some warm grays there for this tabby. Here is one that I did of a Siamese cat, and for these you're just kind of creating a gradient or an ombre effect where you're making their points and then their tail and paws darker and going up so that it's lighter, and then it just fades right out to a white space here. I can show that in another video. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments. And then for calicos, that's the easiest. If you can make a blob with your markers, no straight lines required. You're just going to put on blobs of color with an orange, just like the one we used today, and with that IG8. And then they've got that third color white to make that beautiful tricolor pattern. So I hope you enjoy these samples. and ideas for coloring this cat. It's just one of my favorite images that I have ever released with Gina K Designs. So I hope you will pick this up with Open Book and play and post your creations online. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more ideas and inspiration using all of our stamp sets and at Gina K Designs. Thanks so much for watching today. God bless.